This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brandon Faulkner. I am an intern with Village Core. Be sure to check out our YouTube channel for other meetings like this. Today, I'm joined by Cristina Aguilera, author of I Am Love, I Am Success. Thank you for being here, Cristina.
No, on the contrary, thank you for inviting me.
Yes. So today, I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit about your book, I Am Love, I Am Success. So can you tell us a little bit about your book and its central meaning?
Well, yes, the book is centered on the love for yourself, okay? And what happens in the brain when you truly love yourself, and of course, all the consequences that love brings to your mental, physical, spiritual, and health. That's it. Mhm.
Yeah. And
Okay.
you mentioned the concept of self-love and success which is present in your book. How does that apply to an individual who are undergoing significant life events?
Well, it applies considerably because when you are going through very difficult times, the best thing, or more, let's say like the best tool that you can have to really help yourself going through all those challenges in life is yourself, because you are your best resource. The best resource that you can get in life is yourself.
Yeah.
But if you don't know that you are your best resource, if you don't value that resource the most in the world, because that's the most important value in the world for each person. But if you don't value that, if you don't recognize that value and that potential, because we have an enormous potential inside of us that most people are not even aware of it. So we have to find it. And the only way to find it and to really value it and consider it for you to really help you is if you really love yourself. Otherwise, there is no way, because recognition, somehow it's the first step to start loving yourself, recognizing that you are a valuable being and that you have an enormous potential and that you can do whatever you want to do in the world, and you just have to want it and to make it happen.
Yeah. You cut out a little bit there. You're frozen currently. There we go. There we
Yeah,
go.
a little bit, yes.
There we go. So, the next thing I kind of want to ask you is retirement can sometimes be challenging for people as they adapt to different life changes. How can your book help retirees continues to offer themselves companionship and maintain self sense self sense of self worth during this phase of life? I believe you froze again. Yeah, your connection's pretty poor. Let's see. Froze. Okay, there you go. You're back. You froze for quite a bit there. I can't hear you now. We can't hear you.
Hi.
There we go.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hi.
Yes.
We're back.
Yes.
Something happened.
Yeah. Okay. So before you froze, What I was trying to ask you was, retirement can sometimes be challenging for people as they adapt to significant life changes. How can
Mhm.
your book help retirees continue to offer themselves compassion and maintain a sense of self-worth during this phase of their life?
How can I
How
or
can your book help them?
oh, they can help them because, as well as we stated before, loving yourself is the most important tool that you can have. So when you are going through very difficult times, especially retirement can be very hard for a lot of people because most people think that the only worth thing that they could have, or the only thing they knew how to do is work, and that's it. And when they find themselves with a lot of time and no work, and they don't feel like whatever they're doing is rewarding enough for themselves, so the book will help them a lot in that, to make them um, be aware or recognize or learn how valuable they are, and how can they can still contribute to society in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
And the book can take you there, like step by step, to fulfill all those wishes and everything you ever wanted.
And in your book, do you address concerns of losing one's identity or purpose as their role in life's change? How can your book guide those in transitioning to find new success and fulfillment?
Yes, in the book I talk a lot about, as I was telling you, going through difficult times. How can you really overcome challenges in life, and especially changes, when we're talking about big changes? And the first thing is that you cannot engage in anything before you are okay yourself, because you are completely fulfilled. Because sometimes we think that fulfillment comes from the outside, and it doesn't. Fulfillment comes from the inside, from inside yourself. Happiness comes is inside of you. You are not going to find happiness in anyone or in anything else. Not in material things, not in other persons, not in nothing. Happiness is in yourself, and you have to find that. And in the book I have different tools where, as I was telling you, I can take people step by step to find that happiness, that love, that it's already in there. You just have to find it. You just have to start um, doing it, let's say this way. It is not as it sounds very hard somehow, because it is, because we are used to thinking in a very different way. We're just to thinking very negatively. But when you start thinking a different way, and when you start seeing the world in a different way, happiness and fulfillment comes along.
Yeah. And you mentioned that in your book you have different tools for people to help themselves find happiness. What kind of
That's
tool?
right.
Yeah, what
Mhm.
kind of tools are these that you can
Uh,
use?
there are Most of them are neuro-linguistic programming tools. I don't. The book is not about neuro-linguistic programming. I don't talk about neuro-linguistic programming in the book, but the tools that I have in there are neuro-linguistic programming. And if you have heard about neuro-linguistic programming, it is very effective and very fast. So the exercises that are there are very simple, most of them, and you can follow them very easily. Besides, with my book, and if you can have access to my different workshops, because I have workshops all the time, online and live, and where we also work all these kind of things, but in more, it's more, it's a closer approach. That's all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And many retirees have invested a significant part of their identities into their careers. How can the book help them discover and embrace other aspects of their identity beyond their professional roles?
Well, the thing is that in my workshops, and as well as in the book, because I talk a lot about the potential that we have an enormous potential in our brains and inside of us. And when we discover that we can do a lot of other different things that we have never even tried in our lives. And because now I'm sure and I know that I can do whatever I want to do, then I can engage in anything else. And sometimes when you are retired, the the good thing about being retired is that you don't have to worry about money anymore. So you can be very relaxed and start a new business or start a new job or just start a new hobby because you don't want to work anymore and you really just want to use or do something valuable with your time. And you can start anything you want, knowing that you can do it, being sure about it, because you are going to be very sure and positive about yourself that you are going to be able to do it. Mhm. So, and the book is the one who really encouraged you to think that way and to believe it, not only to think it, but to believe it because you start feeling it. And when you feel things, they come true. That's all. Mhm.
And what practical strategies or exercises from your book can individuals incorporate into their daily lives to foster self-compassion and maintain a positive self-image?
Well, there are a lot of them in the book. Well, one of them I call it like uh, dancing, the three-party dancing and stuff, or the two-party dancing. And that's the way I call them, but it's a description. It's like a double or triple description. And that in the book, I use it specifically to forgive, just to start forgiveness, to forgive yourself and to forgive others, because sometimes that's one of the very first steps in loving yourself, that you have to first forgive yourself and then forgive others. And that exercise in particular I use to forgive yourself and to forgive others, but you can use the same exercise in solving any kind of trouble or challenge that you have. And the exercise itself will give you the answer just like that. And the most important thing about neuro-linguistic programming is that you work with your own tools. You work with yourself, with your own resources. You don't have to look outside for resources to solve anything or to solve your issues or your problems, because you have your resources, and neuro-linguistic programming teach you to use your own resources to solve anything that you face.
And have you yourself used or provided any of these tools and resources to friends and family around you?
I have provided it to not only friends and family, but to a lot of people, because as I was telling you, I also have these workshops and these courses that I give normally, and I have worked with a lot of people, and I've done this, well, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of times, and really the results are amazing. People don't believe it because neurolinguistic programming works like magic. And it's not magic, of course. It just helps you to discover yourself and to discover all those resources that I was telling you about before. And we have so many resources that we don't even know about. And when you learn to use them, really they work like magic, just like that. Mhm. And it's very, very fast. So people are very happy when they do this, and they cannot even believe the results they have. They don't believe it themselves, but they happen just like that.
And are people kind of like down on themselves when they begin this session with you and start using the tools, but then after realize that this was an amazing tool that they can now implement in their daily lives and continue on with even after the sessions are done?
Yes, yes. I mean, they realize it immediately. And normally after the sessions, I give them like a 1 or 2 week period to start, just like to continue their lives, because the most important thing about these different tools and these different exercises that we practice is that they have to continue with their lives just like that, without even thinking about it anymore. And because when you think, sometimes the problem is that we human beings can really, like, what's the word, I don't know, we is like, we frustrate ourselves because we start thinking again about our problems, and sometimes it's like we just like betray ourselves, it's somehow. But when you don't think about it, when you just continue with your lives, then they realize how different it is and how it really works, and it's working. And that's the amazing part of it, that you really, that they continue with their lives and they start feeling the changes in their lives. And it is then when, after that 1 week or 2 week period, when they come back and we talk about the results and how they felt and everything, it is when they realize all those different changes and they talk about it and they feel amazing about it. And it's when really they start feeling the changes, because NLP is all about changes. That's
And
what NLP is, changes.
what are some easy exercises that people could do today to start building themselves up and feeling that self-love again?
Oh, yes, there are. There are most of the exercises are pretty easy to follow. In the book, there are several of them that are very easy to follow, so that people can do by themselves. It is. Let me tell you something. They can do it by themselves, but some people like it better to do it with a guide. Because when I do the exercises with people, is I don't do the exercises. I'm just a guide. I just guide them through the exercise, and they work with their own resources. They don't work with my resources. They work with their own resources. So I just guide them. That's all. Some people like having the guide in presence all the time, and that's why I offer them when they have my book or something, or even though they don't have it, I offer the workshops and stuff so that I can guide them through the exercises. And for some people, it's easier.
And are there any particular challenge or obstacles that the viewers might face when applying the principles from your books in their personal journeys, and how might they overcome these?
No, they're very easy. That's the most wonderful thing about them, that they're so easy that anybody can do it. Anybody. And my that's one of the other things about the book. My book is very easy to read. It's anybody can read it, anybody can understand it, even though it talks about the brain and how the brain works and stuff like that. It is very simple to understand, so anybody can understand it. And the exercises are also very easy to follow. You don't need a special skills or a special trainee or a special education or anything like that to follow them. Anybody can do it, can do them just like that.
And could you highlight any resources or tools on your website that specifically caters to those who are looking to embrace self-compassion and love in their retirement years?
Yes, I do. My website started because I wanted to give something to my readers, especially the people who were reading my book. But at the end, it started being at something like losing weight without dieting and stuff like that. But somehow it is the the website is about taking care of yourself, and taking care of yourself without suffering, because people think that if you have a special diet or you need to really take care of yourself and have a very nutritious life and diet and stuff, it's going to be like suffering, because you're not going to be able to eat anything you want. And that's not it. What I try to show them there is that they can eat whatever they want, they can enjoy life, and they can enjoy food the same way they have always been doing it. But if you start really loving yourself and stuff, things are going to be working by themselves. Because sometimes overweight and stuff like that, it's just because there are some unsolved issues in your life. Most of the time, that is the problem. The problem is that you have unsolved issues in your life. And those unsolved issues in your lives are the ones that are causing you health problems, and sometimes weight problems, or in you just like, yes, metabolize it in a very different way, or both problems to just like that. So yes, the website talks about that, and it gives you some decrees or affirmations that you can even say and that you can follow, so that you can start loving yourself and feeling better about yourself, but also having a healthier life in every single aspect, as I was telling you, in a physical, mental, emotional way. Mhm.
And lastly, before we get into the questioning period here, do you have any final advice or key takeaways for those seeking to live a fulfilling and self-compassionate life during their retirement years?
Yes, do whatever you want to do. You can do it. You have everything you can even imagine to do it. Don't feel or don't block yourself, because most of those challenges that sometimes we face in life is because we are the ones putting the hurdles in there. That the hurdles are not there just by themselves. I mean, you put them because you start believing that you cannot do it, or that something is very difficult, or something is impossible, or I'm too old to start doing this and this and this. No, I mean, just go ahead and do it. You have the freedom, you have the money, you have everything you want, you have the time, you have everything to fulfill anything you want. And the most important thing is just do whatever it takes not to start feeling depressed, not to depress yourself. And just forget about that. And if you want, if they want, they can call me, they can follow me, they can go and on my workshops and stuff, and I will explain them why their brains are still the same as they were before. People think that neurons and stuff and the brains ages and it becomes old and you cannot think any the way you were thinking when you were 30 and stuff like that, and it is just the other way around. The more you think and the more your brains are working and the more experiences you have, the more neurons and the more connections between neurons we generate. And that's something that science has already proven. So I'm not saying it just because, I'm saying it because science has already proven that. So the older we get, the wiser we get. That's really, it's the truth, because our brains and our neurons are really working and work more and more and more. So just don't stop. That's my advice. Don't stop. Just continue living, continue enjoying life, and continue doing and planning for whatever it is they dream of. That's all. Follow the dreams. Continue following your dreams, not because you are or you feel old, you are not going to be able to do it. You can do whatever you want, really. Okay.
All right. So if anybody would like to ask any questions, please feel free. You can just unmute or raise your hand. So Karen, raise your hand.
Hi, Christina. Thank you for speaking with us today. Can you tell me how thank you. How does your book differ, or does it differ from the book The Secret? Because that's a lot about manifesting, and it seems similar to what you're saying. Is it similar?
Yeah, it is kind of similar, because The Secret talks a lot about this affirmations and stuff, and how if you decrease something, these things can happen. Well, in my book, what I do is like I did all this metaphysical stuff and all these things about affirmations and decrease and all those things that people think they work just like magic and it's just something like out of this world or something like that. It is not.
Mm-hmm.
What I try doing in my book is just prove it scientifically, how science can prove that this decrease and that these things can really work.
Mm-hmm.
But not because there are a dark science or anything like that. It's because it's science. It's just science, just as that, just the science that we learn at school and universities and everything. And science now can prove that this happened and why it happens. That's all. And I explain it perfectly well in my book so that everybody can understand it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And I believe that is all the time that we have. So thank you very much, Cristina, for being here and talking about your book and self-love today.
Thank you. So whatever you need, they can follow me on my website, or they can, well, whatever. And the workshops are open for everybody.
Yes, sounds good. So once again, my name is Brandon Faulkner. I'm an intern for Village Core. Be sure to check out our website, villagecore.org, or check out our YouTube channel in case you miss any meetings like this. Thank you, everybody, for watching.